The global media tried to write the obituary of Burkina Faso. When Captain Ibrahim Traoré took control and cut ties with old colonial structures, Western think tanks confidently predicted a rapid, catastrophic economic collapse. They said a landlocked nation, completely surrounded by instability, could never survive without foreign handouts. But they were looking at the wrong map. They didn't understand that when you have nothing left to lose, self-reliance becomes your greatest weapon. In 2026, Burkina Faso is pulling off one of the most aggressive, fiercely independent infrastructure sprints in modern African history. This isn't a story of survival, it's a masterclass in economic warfare. This is how you rebuild a nation from scratch. Today, the Africa Corridor takes you inside the dust, the sweat, and the concrete to break down the top 10 mega projects Ibrahim Traoré's government is using to completely rewrite Burkina Faso's destiny. Number 10, the decentralized solar revolution. For generations, the energy map of Burkina Faso was a system designed to fail. The country relied heavily on buying expensive electricity from its neighbors, leaving millions of families in rural areas trapped in darkness and forcing local businesses to pay exorbitant costs just to keep their equipment running. The old approach was to wait decades for massive multi-billion-dollar transmission lines to slowly crawl across the desert. The Traoré government completely discarded that blueprint. Instead of building centralized vulnerabilities, the state launched a massive decentralized solar initiative anchored by the Ouagadougou microgrid expansion. By deploying localized high-capacity solar hubs directly into agricultural communes, they have bypassed the need for expensive, foreign-funded grid networks. In 2026, these microgrids are lighting up local schools, powering cold storage units for farmers, and establishing localized energy pools that foreign corporations cannot manipulate. It is clean, fast, and entirely sovereign power. Number 9, the Bobo Dioulasso Industrial Road Corridor. Logistics can be the ultimate bottleneck for a landlocked nation. Bobo Dioulasso is the industrial heartbeat of Burkina Faso, the region where goods are manufactured and processed. Yet for years, the roads connecting this vital hub to the rest of the country were little more than potholed, single-lane dirt tracks. Heavy transport vehicles carrying domestic products were regularly bogged down for days, destroying goods, inflating transport costs, and cutting local merchants out of competitive markets. The government responded by launching a complete state-funded reconstruction of the industrial road corridor. This wasn't a standard public works project handed over to foreign conglomerates. It was managed and executed with massive state oversight. Heavy machinery cleared the old parts, replacing them with thick, reinforced concrete mixed asphalt engineered to withstand the weight of massive cargo fleets. By slashing transit times between the industrial zones and regional borders, Burkina Faso has created a land-based economic shield, proving that physical isolation can be overcome with pure infrastructure grid. Number 8. The national gold refinery of Ouagadougou. Burkina Faso is one of the top gold producers on the African continent, mining tens of thousands of kilograms of the precious metal every single year. Yet, under the old economic system, almost every single ounce of that wealth left the country in its raw, unrefined state. It was shipped directly to European vaults to be purified, leaving the Burkinabè people with fractional tax crumbs, while foreign entities reap the real value. The Traoré administration attacked this colonial extraction model head-on by building the national gold refinery in Ouagadougou. The state-of-the-art facility completely transforms the country's economic leverage. Instead of exporting raw dust, Burkina Faso now refines its gold on its own soil. The economic implications are massive. Local artisanal miners have a secure state-backed buyer, smuggling networks are being choked out of existence, and for the first time in its history, the country can back its own financial reserves with physical, pure bullion processed inside its own capital. Number 7, the offensive's Agro-Pastorales. An army cannot fight and a workforce cannot build if a nation is entirely dependent on foreign markets just to feed its children. Historically, Burkina Faso spent billions of CFA francs annually importing staple foods like rice, maize, and wheat flour from international markets, leaving the country completely vulnerable to global supply chain shocks and artificial price inflation. To break this cycle, the government launched the offensive's Agro-Pastorales, an unprecedented, massive mobilization of the country's agricultural sector. Backed by tens of billions of CFA francs in state funding and capital redirected from natural resource revenues, the government purchased thousands of modern tractors and heavy cultivators, distributing them directly to local farming cooperatives. Over 5,000 hectares of previously idle land have been transformed into highly productive fields. Yields have surged dramatically, creating consistent cereal surpluses. Burkina Faso is demonstrating that food self-sufficiency isn't just an agricultural policy. It is the highest, most critical tier of national security. Number 6. The Burkina textile revitalization. Burkina Faso produces some of the highest grade raw white cotton in the entire world. It is soft, resilient, and highly sought after on global trading floors. Yet, historically, a staggering 95% of this raw harvest was packed onto containers and shipped to textile factories in Asia and Europe, only for Burkina Faso to buy back-finished clothing at premium retail prices. The Traoré administration launched the Burkina Revitalization Project to put an end to this cycle. The government injected emergency capital to rebuild and modernize domestic textile mills that had been left dormant for decades. Today, the industrial looms are spinning once again. Raw Burkinabè cotton is now processed, spun, woven, and dyed entirely inside the country. This single project has generated thousands of manufacturing jobs for local youths, while the newly produced fabrics are utilized to manufacture uniforms for the National Armed Forces and affordable garments for the domestic market. Number 5. The Profarm pharmaceutical facility relying on foreign suppliers for life-saving medicine is a silent, terrifying vulnerability that plagues most developing countries. Africa as a whole historically imported 97% of its pharmaceutical products, leaving local populations entirely exposed to counterfeit drugs or sudden, drastic supply cuts during global health crises. To build a domestic medical shield, the Burkinabè state heavily prioritized the expansion and certification of Profarm, a massive 1.5-hectare pharmaceutical manufacturing facility located in Komsilga, on the outskirts of Ouagadougou. Built through private-public alignment, the facility focuses on the uninterrupted mass production of essential generic medicines, paracetamol, antispasmodics, and critical oral rehydration kits. By manufacturing these vital therapeutics locally, the country has slashed the cost of basic healthcare, eradicated supply dependencies on overseas shipping, and protected its citizens from the predatory pricing of international pharmaceutical monopolies. Number 4. The Pakoa Zinc Reclamation Initiative. When foreign multinationals operating the Pakoa zinc mines decided to walk away from their operations, citing regional security risks, the conventional economic playbook suggested the asset should be left to rot. For decades, international conglomerates would mothball industrial mining equipment, abandoning local workforces and freezing national revenue streams whenever conditions became challenging. The current administration refused to let that happen, launching the Pakoa Zinc Reclamation Initiative. The state stepped in, restructured the asset management, and placed local engineering teams and state-backed technicians in absolute control of the industrial extraction process. This project ensures that vital base metals like zinc are mined under tight, uncompromised sovereign supervision. The operational profits no longer exit the country via overseas corporate channels. Instead, they flow directly into the national treasury, providing liquid capital to fund public schools, medical clinics, and rural infrastructure. Number 3. The Sahel Railway Expansion. For a landlocked country, a railway network isn't a luxury. It is a lifeline that determines the cost of every single item entering or leaving the borders. For decades, the existing rail networks were neglected, underfunded, and left entirely in the hands of regional operators who prioritized foreign trade routes over internal development. The Traoré government broke this deadlock by initiating the Sahel Railway Extension. This massive engineering project focuses on restoring, upgrading, and expanding the heavy steel tracks connecting rural agricultural zones and deep interior mining basins directly to major urban centers. By deploying thousands of local workers to lay down new domestic rail lines, the country is radically lowering the cost of industrial shipping. Bulk goods, raw minerals, and massive agricultural yields that once took weeks to transport via deteriorating dirt roads can now move across the country on high-capacity steel highways in a matter of hours. Number 2. The Ouagadougou Tech Hub. True independence in the modern era cannot be achieved purely through manual labor and physical assets. It requires digital sovereignty. If a nation relies entirely on foreign software, foreign servers, and foreign tech conglomerates to manage its financial systems, communication networks, and state data, it is not truly free. To secure the digital front line, the government established the Ouagadougou Tech Hub in the heart of the capital. This state-of-the-art facility provides ultra-high-speed fiber connectivity, incubation capital, and advanced hardware engineering laboratories. It is a secure sanctuary designed specifically for the brightest young Burkinabè minds. Here, local software developers, cybersecurity specialists, and data engineers are building localized apps, securing government databases against foreign cyber threats, and even designing custom software components to automate local agricultural equipment. It is the brain engine of the new revolution. Number 1. The domestic drone and defense complex. At the absolute pinnacle of Burkina Faso's self-reliance strategy is a project that completely stunned regional defense analysts, the domestic drone and defense manufacturing complex. The strategic logic behind this move is absolute. You cannot protect your farms, your gold refineries, or your transport corridors if you have to ask a foreign superpower for permission to purchase a defensive weapon. Facing intentional international arms delays and arms embargoes, the Traoré government made the ultimate realpolitik power move. They established an indigenous, highly secure defense manufacturing facility inside the country. Instead of relying solely on imported military hardware, local inventors, self-taught mechanics, and aerospace engineers were brought into a centralized state program. Today, this facility actively builds, assembles, and modifies advanced tactical unmanned aerial vehicles like the Ningen Nifri and the Kuka 88 autonomous reconnaissance drones. These platforms are custom engineered for the specific atmospheric conditions and terrain of the Sahel, providing the National Armed Forces with real-time independent aerial surveillance. By manufacturing its own eyes in the sky, Burkina Faso has achieved what many thought was impossible. They have militarized their own airspace on their own terms. Burkina Faso is proving to the global community that when a nation completely embraces the doctrine of self-reliance, the lack of a coastline doesn't matter, the lack of foreign validation doesn't matter, and the threats of international isolation completely lose their power. From the concrete highway corridors to the high-tech drone manufacturing base, these mega projects are the physical brick and mortar of a new African century. The Traoré government has shown that the fastest way to break an old colonial chain isn't to beg for a key, it's to build your own forge, melt down the old structures, and cast an entirely new destiny with your own hands.